Alright, so the job market in 2025 is a joke. I'm sure you've all seen videos talking about how bad the job market is in 2025, especially for those who are in their early 20s, who are fresh out of college or uni, who are just trying to get a decent, well-paying job, but they can't find any just because there's too much competition and the application process is now extremely long and convoluted with all these ridiculous stages, all in the effort of just trying to filter out applications because there's so many. And this is a struggle that I went through for about 2 to 3 years. I mean, I'm now in my mid-20s and I've luckily been able to find my grad job, but I have so many friends who are still in that same position, who have either graduated from university or are about to graduate or have graduated for several years and they still haven't found what they would classify as like a proper typical grad job. And I thought, well, I'm somebody who's recently gone through this experience and I really want to share it with you guys to give you some tips on how to actually secure that first proper grad job, because I kind of wish somebody had told me these tips. And yeah, there are videos out there, but I think there's no harm in adding my personal experience to the pile of videos that are already out there giving you advice. And hell, if it works for just one of you, then this video's kind of done its job. So there's a couple of things we're going to go over in this video, at least that helped me. I mean, it's all subjective. This is all my personal experience, so take everything I say with a grain of salt, of course. But let's start by talking about one of the big things that I think is so important when you're looking for a grad job. Ignore the big companies. I can't say this enough, but just ignore all of the big typical companies. Think your Apple, your Google, just ignore them, okay? Because they're all very well known. Everyone knows of Apple and Google and Microsoft, right? You are just going to be 1 in 1,000 unless you're like top of your class. Your CV is a dime a dozen. You're not going to get seen. And chances are, even if you are that student, your CV might just be filtered out anyway because of all the stupid tests that they do and all the screening stuff. Like you stand no chance. It's a lottery at that stage. They're so well known and they're so big. Not to mention that even if you did get a job with these people, you're just a number to them. They don't care about you. There's 999 other people waiting to take your place the second you fall behind or the second you make a mistake at your job. Not to mention that the process for applying for a lot of these jobs is so long. There's so many stages. You have to do all these silly tests and it takes hours just to do one application. It is soul destroying. And so my opinion is, unless you are like a complete top rate student, ignore the big companies. Don't go for them. They're not worth your time, okay? You need to be sending out plenty of applications every day and you just won't be doing that with these big companies. So first piece of advice, in my opinion, avoid big well-known companies because their application process is way too long, way too convoluted, and it's a lottery where instead of just buying a ticket for a couple of quid, you have to spend an hour of your time. It's not worth it, guys. Trust me, it's not worth your mental health. Don't do it. Okay, so the second tip I want to talk about is one that I think is so important, is try your best to find recruiters in your particular field that you want to work in. The best way I can put it is a recruiter is somebody who, for those of you who potentially don't know, their job is to recruit people for certain companies, right? But the reason they're there is because small companies don't have the budget or the marketing presence, or they're just not well known. And so what they do is they hire these recruiters who will go out there and find people to then put in these roles for these small companies. So recruiters will basically fight for you in certain circumstances to get you a job. You know, they're on your side, right? They have a benefit to getting you a job. They get their commission, right? And so I think recruiters are probably one of the best ways to get a job as a graduate. Pick whatever niche it is you want to do. Let's say you want to get into finance, right? You want to be a finance bro or whatever, right? Find whatever, finance niche you want to do and find recruiters who recruit for those specific kinds of jobs. And most times, just call them up, give them a call, and you'll be able to do one of the things that you've probably been dying to do for a while, which is just talk to somebody. like I said, with these big companies, a lot of it is just computer tests and AI filtering. With recruiters, you actually get to talk to a human being. And I know it sounds silly, but it makes a massive difference. If you come across well over the phone, if you're well spoken, if you're energetic, if you sound like you have a passion for whatever industry it is you want to go into, recruiters will notice that. They'll notice that you're hungry. Not to mention that not too many people, at least from what I've heard and seen, actually talk about using recruiters to get a job. I guess maybe it might be more saturated depending on when you're watching this video, but at least for me, this is like the hack that got me the job I'm in now, is using a recruiter. Try and be well spoken over the phone, be passionate about what you want to do, and the recruiter will then pair you with a job that, they'll try and pair you with a company that they think you'll be a good fit for. So not only that, but recruiters will find you the companies that, are going to be the best fit for you. You're not just sending applications, cold applications out into the void. They're actually pairing you up with a company that says, okay, we're looking for XYZ. I'm a recruiter. I have this candidate that kind of fits that to a T. I'm going to put them in touch. And that is the true power of recruiters, is they're able to pair you up with the companies, which means every application, every interview you go for is more likely to be successful because the recruiter's giving the company what it wants, i.e. you, the person who fits and ticks all the boxes. So in my opinion, find and call up recruiters that are in your particular niche or particular field, whatever it is you're looking to do. Call them up and just see if they've got any jobs. And even if they haven't, they'll call you up every now and again maybe and check up on you. Oh, you're still looking for a job? They'll keep you as in their pool of candidates, and they'll search for you. Like, it's passive searching almost. Everyone talks about passive income. Think of it like this. It's passive income, but passive searching. You've outsourced almost the job to somebody else who has an incentive. They've got a commission to try and get you into a job. So tip number 1, avoid the big companies. Tip number 2, call up recruiters in your particular niche, because chances are you'll be far more successful going through a recruiter than you are just cold sending out applications. All right, tip number 3 is it's just a numbers game. Realistically, at this stage where we are right now in this economy, it's a numbers game. And so you can't be sending out an application a day, or I'll do the application here or there. And to be honest, you can't afford to be too picky either. Beggars can't be choosers. You need to be sending out several applications, i.e. every day. I mean, presumably, let's say you're working a part-time job, or even hell, a full-time job. Your weekend, you should be sending out 10 applications on Saturday, 10 applications on Sunday. That's 20 applications just over the weekend. That's a lot of applications, and especially if they're just, firing off CVs and stuff, they'll tend to be less successful if you're just cold calling. But you need the numbers, because maybe, as I said earlier, recruiters also scan through a lot of these job postings, and they'll usually sometimes be the ones who have actually posted that job posting. So it's another way of getting in touch with recruiters, but you need to be sending out lots and lots and lots of applications. Don't be too picky, just send loads out, because they can always come back with an offer, and you do always have the choice to reject it should it just be too far, or you go to the interview and maybe it's not just for you. You need to send loads of applications out. For example, with me, I had to do over 150 applications. Out of those 150 applications, I had maybe 6 phone calls with people at the company, advertising the role, talking about it. And then out of those, I had 2 interviews, and it was my second interview on my 150th-ish application that I got the job. And I'd been searching for about 10 months. And I wouldn't say I'm a clever student. I'm a pretty average student. I got a 2-1 at uni. That's a fairly normal score. But that just goes to show you how difficult it is to get a job nowadays. So hopefully my personal experience in how to get a job and these tips will help you get a job as well. So yeah, I know this video's maybe been a bit rambly. I don't really have a script. I'm just sort of talking into a microphone here, but I really wanted to get my personal experience out there onto YouTube. Like I said, I know there's plenty of videos out there giving you probably much better advice than what I've done here, but I feel like sometimes having some personal anecdotes on YouTube and have something almost to compare yourself to can actually be quite helpful. And just, oh, it's not just me who's done over 100 applications and hasn't heard a peep. You're not alone. Trust me, you are not alone. So do these 3 things that I talked about. Avoid the big companies, focus on recruiters, and it's a numbers game. Send out as many applications as you can. But yeah, if you guys have any questions in the comments, I'll try and answer those I can. And of course, you know, hopefully I wish you all the best of luck in trying to find a grad job, especially those of you in your young 20s. It's difficult, it's tough out there, but keep going, keep persevering, and I promise you, if you do these 3 things, you will up your chances of getting that grad job that you want so much. But yeah, that's it guys. Without further ado, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Take care.